Thanks. Next question. Your host has been suspected to be using bomb containing chlorine gas. Would you deny it?
Actually, you are talking about chemical
Yeah.
weapons. Talking about chemical weapons means killing thousands of people in very short time. Something that hasn't happened in Syria since the beginning of the crisis. But the most important thing that morally, as a government, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't, as I just said, kill your own people. You wouldn't use mass destruction weapons against your own people. That's impossible. But third, which is more important, that in 2013, we signed on the treaty of the banning of chemical weapons, and we give up our arsenal of chemical weapons since 2013, and we don't have it anymore. But actually, the terrorists are the ones who used those kind of armaments the first time in 2013. And in the spring of 2013, we asked the United Nations to send delegation for investigations, and the American blocked our attempt because they knew that time that if the delegation came to Syria, it will find the concrete evidence that the terrorist has used chlorine gas against our soldiers. So I will completely deny what's in this statement, which reflects the narrative, the Western narrative regarding Syria, and this is part of demonizing the Syrian government and the Syrian army.
Thanks. And next question. There are millions of refugees and IDPs, including small children, hundreds of thousands of deaths. How do you think of responsibility as president?
Of course, when you talk about the refugees, it's a tragedy. When you talk about, especially about the children, young children, youth, they are innocent people. They don't have anything to do with this war. Regardless of their affiliation, actually, when you talk about children, they don't have any political affiliation. They are just innocent people. But they are the one who pay the price before any other one in the society. So you're talking about tragedy we've been living with on daily basis. That's why that feeling that I'm talking about, that we live with every day, is the incentive for us as officials to do our utmost to get rid of the terrorists who created this problem and to bring peace and stability back to Syria. That's the question that the Syrian asked to the president. Of course, as a Syrian, I'm sympathetic with every Syrian who suffered because of the war. But their question now, not what you feel. Their question, what are you going to do? When are we going to get rid of those terrorists? But the most important aspect that many in the West and in the world don't mention, that part of the refugees problem not only related to the terrorists themselves, it's related to the embargo that's being implemented on the Syrian people by the West and their allies. This embargo it didn't work against the government. It worked against every Syrian citizen. It affected the life of every Syrian citizen. That's why many refugees left their country, not only because of the threat of the terrorists, but actually because the basic needs of their life, of their livelihoods, are not available for them to continue their normal life, whether food, whether education, healthcare, anything is not available anymore. So they have to leave Syria, to live somewhere else, to live the minimum of the life that anyone would seek.
An additional question then. In course of the peacemaking and process, would you consider your resignation as an option when you think it's necessary for reconciliation?
The resignation of the president or the continuation of that president in his position is a national issue. It's related to every Syrian, because in Syria, the president would be elected directly by the Syrian people. So this is not the right of the government or the right of the opposition. It's the right of every Syrian. So the only decision maker in that regard is the ballot box. Whoever wants the president to leave, he can go to the ballot box and say no, we don't want him. This is the democracy everywhere in the world. So no, it's not something we discuss either with the opposition or with any other country. This is a Syrian issue, and this is part of the constitution. It's related to the constitution. When we have election, could be early election. It's not on the table now, but this is the only way to say whether I have to leave or not. Again, I'm not the reason of the problem. As president, I have to help my country during the crisis, not to flee, not to escape, not to say I have to leave and let the people fend for themselves. No, this is not the solution. In the crisis, president should be at the helm, should take care of the crisis. Then after the crisis finished, he can say maybe he wants to stay or wants to leave. And this is where the Syrian people will tell him stay, or no, you have to leave, we don't want you anymore.
Thank you. And next, what role would you expect Japan to play in peacemaking and rebuilding Syria, reconstruction and rebuilding Syria? Japanese role.
Let me be frank with you, as Japanese guest in Syria. Since our independence, since the launching of the relation between Syria and Japan decades ago, Japan played a very important and vital role in the development of different countries, including Syria, supporting the infrastructure, etc.
Education.
And Japan was always unbiased regarding the different issues concerning the Middle East. It always respected the international law. Till the beginning of this crisis, it was the first time for Japan to breach this trend when they said that the Syrian president should go. The question, is it based on the values and moral of the Japanese people? Definitely not. Everybody knows how morally motivated the Japanese citizens are. Everybody knows that. Is it based on the international law? No. We are a sovereign country. We are an independent country. No one in the world has the right to say who should stay and who should go. Unfortunately, that was in line with the American and Western policy. Again, Japan joined the embargo on Syria. Japan used to help the Syrian people. Is the embargo on the Syrian people related to anything regarding the interests of the Japanese people, or their values, or the laws, or the constitution, or anything? I don't think so. So how can Japan play that role while they don't have embassy, so they don't see what's going on here? Actually, politically, they are blind, like so many Western countries, that they don't have any relation with our government or with our country, so they cannot play any role because they don't know what's going on. The information coming from Western country, which is absurd for us. Reconstruction of Syria, you cannot talk about reconstruction while you're making embargo. You cannot give me the food with one hand and take it from me with the other hand. So it's about the politics of Japan. They have to go back to the international law. We are a sovereign country. They always respected Syria, and we expect them to go back to that line that distinguished Japan from most of the countries around the world. This is where Japan can, of course, definitely play important and vital role regarding the peace and saving bloods and the reconstruction of Syria to help those people. Most of the refugees, they don't need somebody to tell them, you're welcome to Germany or to France or to any other country. They want to go back to their country. They don't want you to help them there. They want you to help him here. That's how we see the role of Japan in the future. And we have hope that Japan will go back to the Japan that we used to know during the previous decades.
As you know, Japan has experience of nation building 70 years ago. Japan may advise to your country's rebuilding and reconstruction.
Definitely, of course. We hope so.
Okay. As you know, Japanese journalists Junpei Yasuda. He is very capable journalist. He is my friend. Has been captured in Syria since June 2015. Do you have any information of his whereabouts and situation?
Till this moment, no, we don't have any information about him. We feel sorry about this, and we are as Syrians the one who can understand the feeling of his family, because we have so many missings in Syria. Many Syrians have been missed during this war, and we understand the feeling of his family and feel sorry for that. But if there's any information, I would have given it to you.
He's kept hostage by Nusra Front.
I think the one who can help in bringing the information are the Turks, because they are the supervisors of Al-Nusra. They must have every information Al-Nusra have with their intelligence and their government.
Okay. And has Japanese government contacted your government?
Unfortunately, no. There's not a single contact between Syrian government and the Japanese government regarding any subject, including this Japanese journalist, which is Japanese citizen at the end.
You define the Japanese role. Japan is belonging. You think belonging to the coalition member of the United States. You think?
In Syria.
Yeah.
But the question, what did that coalition achieved? Actually, nothing. ISIS was expanding since the beginning of the airstrikes, which was cosmetic airstrikes. I'm being very frank with you. Till the Russian intervened against ISIS in September, at the end of September 2015, where ISIS started to shrink. So that coalition achieved nothing. They only killed Syrian soldiers who has been fighting ISIS in that area. They destroyed the infrastructure of the Syrian that has been built during the last 70 years since the independence in every sector of that infrastructure, whether oil fields, schools, bridges, refineries, everything has been destroyed by that coalition. This is the only achievement of that coalition, unfortunately.
Your plan to rebuild this country, how long does it take? Your timetable?
We have started before the end of the crisis. We have started. We put the plans, and we started with the suburbs around Damascus, and now we are planning in Aleppo and other cities to reconstruct new suburbs that's been destroyed, but in a modern way. So we haven't waited. And we're not going to wait till the end of the crisis. We can start right away, as the Syrian people are determined to rebuild their country. We built Syria. Syria wasn't built by any foreigners. We built it with our engineers, with our laborers, with our own resources, with the help of some financial helps, not technical help. So we have the ability to rebuild Syria. It takes time because it needs a lot of money. Every Syrian is going to build his own house according to his resources, even if it's limited resources. You have expatriates, you have the refugees who left Syria, some of them, they are in good condition, they want to come back. And with the support of our friends, Russia, China, Iran, many other countries, started discussing the reconstruction of Syria, and they're going to help with their financial resources. So you have so many resources to rebuild Syria. It's not about time. It will take time. Any reconstructions will take time. But the most important thing that you have the ability to rebuild your country. We're not worried about that. What we are worried about, how can we rebuild the minds of the people that's been under the control of ISIS and Al-Nusra for many years. That their mind has been polluted because of the instilled ideology in their mind. This, as I called it, hateful, Wahhabi ideology. They saw the death and the killing, and some of the children killed with their hands, innocent people. How can we rebuild those minds or rehabilitate those minds? That's our big concern after the crisis.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.